Mayor Gurney Benham welcomes the Carnival Queen and her court to the town hall in 1934. Just one of the many scenes making up this compilation of cinefilm taken by amateur cameramen over the past 60 years in and around Colchester. No doubt much footage of the carnival processions has been recorded. Here we're looking at the floats in 1947 as they pass along Queen Street. Look at the shops in the background, Locks House Furnishers, and Whitfield, Cossar and Lancashire, portrait photographers, and the old arcade. The procession has now moved into St John's Street. Paxman's, a long-established Colchester firm with several floats. This one is an RAF information office, no doubt after more recruits. The severe winter weather of 1933-34 was filmed on a Pathé 9.5mm cine camera, costing a little more than £2. These scenes are in the Castle Park. Council workers shovel snow off the road into the river at North Bridge. Do you remember milk being delivered this way? The Prince of Wales, later to become King Edward VIII, came to the town in 1931 to present new colours to the 1st Battalion of the Middlesex Regiment, and he attended the Oyster Feast, hosted by Mayor William Harper. The Prince made an appearance on the town hall balcony. In 1936, the Colchester Cooperative Society celebrated its 75th anniversary with a parade through the town, here passing down High Street. The society was started in 1861 by 12 men led by John Castle, a silk weaver. They followed the example of the Rochdale pioneers by opening a shop for members' use in Culver Street. The parade of various forms of transport is now in Old Heath Road. Note how we dressed in 1936. All men are wearing some kind of headgear. To celebrate the coronation of George VI in May 1937, most shops and public buildings in the town decorated overall with flags and buntings. The cameraman did well, but it's a pity that he moved around so quickly. Can you pick out the streets? It wasn't until 1963 that traffic in the town centre became one-way only. The borough of Colchester has had almost exclusive rights to the oyster beds in the River Colne since the time of the Royal Charter of 1189. Every October the mayor and civic guests take to the river, by boat of course, and perform a simple ceremony by declaring the oyster fishing season open, and the mayor makes the first dredge. By tradition, gin and gingerbread are taken as refreshment. This is the opening in 1977 with Mayor Len Woodrow and Town Clerk John Allen.
John Allen prepares to read the ancient proclamation.
Oh yes, oh yes.
I pray all of you here present to keep silent while the town clerk does read, according to ancient custom, the proclamation declaring the fishery open.
Be it known, the several fishery of the River Colne and waters thereof hath, from time beyond which memory runneth not to the contrary, belonged and appertained to the borough of Colchester, by whatsoever name or designation called or known, and this in virtue and pursuance of the divers royal charters, grants, liberties, and franchises to the same borough conceded.
Later in the month, the town celebrates with an oyster feast, the first being held as long ago as 1667. This one took place in 1934 when Gurney Benham was mayor and was held in the Corn Exchange. After enjoying the oysters and other delicacies, guests listened to a speech from the former Speaker of the House of Commons, Viscount Ullswater. In 1977, the feast was held in the Moot Hall. A verse printed in the programme, written by Benham, reads, "Though salty foes on every side abound, the cool, tenacious oyster holds his ground." We're now at Brightlingsea Station, terminus of the Colchester-Wivenhoe branch line. Because the line was washed away in the flood of February 1953, it wasn't reopened until December that year, when a steam train gave local school children a ride to Colchester. The station master, his driver and staff line up for a photograph. A few months after this occasion, the railway between Wivenhoe and Brightlingsea closed down for good, axed by Dr. Beeching in the late 1950s. Back to Colchester. Essex Hall was built as an hotel when the railway came in 1843, but it proved unsuccessful and 7 years later was taken over as a mental institution and continued until 1986 when the building was demolished. Middleborough in 1975. The cattle market had stood on this site since 1862. The final sale was held here in March 1975, before the market was moved to a new site out of town. On the north side of the market was the Newmarket Tavern, closed and demolished to make way for the building of a new insurance company headquarters. Whilst the market site was opened up, archaeologists discovered many interesting antiquities, including a Roman mosaic pavement, now restored and on display in the Castle Museum. The bus station in St John Street has been here since 1926, but in latter years served as a car park before closing in 1977 to make way for a commercial development. Shops on the south side of the street were to be demolished. Some residents in Chapel Street and St John's Avenue put up a fight against the planners in an attempt to prevent their homes going. Inevitably, they lost. Work commenced in October 1978 on the building of a giant superstore. The contractors were halted in their work for a time when it was discovered that pile drivers were disturbing foundations of neighbouring properties. The Lion Walk area of the town seen through the eyes of still cameras in 1971. Narrow streets, a nightmare for traffic. In 1972, all these premises were demolished prior to building a shopping complex. A huge underground service area, fed from Vineyard Street, breaching the Roman wall, was the first part of the development. Lion Walk Church stood precariously on the edge of the site. A new public library to replace the one in Shewell Road was built into the complex. By 1976, the £7 million project was completed, and shops such as Boots, W.H. Smith's and Marks and Spencer opened for business. A quick glimpse of the Saturday market held on the car park in Culver Street. Perhaps this can be dated by the price of the tomatoes. The library, built in 1938, was never finished. It stands in 1984 surrounded by car parks waiting for site redevelopment as a second shopping precinct. Properties backing Head Street. Shewell Road was destined to disappear completely. The library building would remain, but the television dealer's shop and the building society premises would go. It was planned to retain the frontage of Rebo Chambers in Sir Isaac's Walk, the former home of the old Lexton Rural District Council, but even that fell under the demolition contractor's hammer. Some shops in St John Street had to make way for the entrance to the underground service area. These Head Street shops were vacated in preparation for a new frontage. The shop at the corner of Head Street with Culver Street had been a grocer's for many years before finishing its days as a retail store. The Scouts' bunting room, dating back 60 years. The Culver precinct opened for business in October 1987. Cottages facing Southway and part of Old Denmark Street await demolition, for this area has been designated for a new police station. In 1985, site clearance commenced. In midsummer 1987, Mayor John Lampen arrives with the Chief Constable of Essex and other police officials to lay the foundation stone of the new station, and at the same time bury a time capsule which contains information relevant to the year, coins, newspapers, etc. More site clearance, this time St Mary's Rectory Gardens, earmarked for a new theatre to replace the old Repertory Theatre in High Street. The trustees of the new theatre, under Mr Bernard Mason's chairmanship, met many times to monitor progress. With the necessary fundings achieved, work commenced in May 1970 with a simple ceremony. Mayor Reg Hillam escorts Sir John Ruggles Bryce, the Lord Lieutenant of Essex, to the dais for the formalities of laying the foundations. Speeches came from Lord Allport, chairman of the new Theatre Trust, Dick Linklater of the Arts Council, and David Forder, managing director of the theatre, which has been named Mercury. Eminent actor Eric Porter buried a time capsule. Under the shadow of the water tower, Mercury was to rise in a revolutionary theatre design of hexagonal shape. Movable walls enabled the size of the auditorium to be altered to suit the type of production. The opening night was held on 10th May 1972 with a production of The Recruiting Officer. Fun events have always played a part in Colchester's social programme. Here on a hot June day in 1983, homemade rafts take to the River Colne for a race from East Mill to the park and back, the competitors encountering obstacles en route. As the Olympic slogan says, it's not the winning but the taking part that's the enjoyment. innovation in the early 80s has been the annual fun run over a half-marathon course with a cast of thousands. The run starts and finishes on Garrison Land at Beerchurch, taking the runners through the countryside at Shrub End, Lair and Aberton. St George's Day 1982. Scouts, Guides, Cubs and Brownies of the Colchester Division paraded through the town. The assembly gathered on the square at Cavalry Barracks. Back to 1961 for one of the town's carnival processions off on its way around the town centre. This was the year for a campaign to get an indoor swimming pool for the town. In June 1977, Mayor Len Woodrow heads a procession to Shrub End Church for a civic service to celebrate the Queen's Silver Jubilee. For a week, the town was decorated overall with flags and bunting and various celebratory events held. A shop window display competition, school children form up outside the Mercury Theatre in preparation for a procession through the town, taking them to the Castle Park. "300 children from Monkwick School give a display of music and movement. Back on the parade ground, the Jubilee procession assembles, with red, white and blue in prominence. Street parties were held in some of the town's streets. A road off Hythe Hill, Lisle Road, Blackheath. £2,000 was raised for local charities during the Carnival Parade. Princess Anne visited the Colchester in 1969 to open the new youth house in West Stockwell Street. She was hosted by Mayor Reg Hillam. St Helena Hospice at Milan Hall was opened by Her Majesty the Queen Mother in 1986. A day of great celebration, for much practical work and fundraising had gone into this project to make it all possible. The Lord Lieutenant of Essex was in attendance. And the Queen Mother was presented to the chairman of the Essex County Council, to Colchester's Mayor, Jack Williams, Hospice Chairman Chris Holmes,
Northeast Essex, extend to you today our warm and loyal greetings. Enjoy your visit and carry away with you today.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here today and to be able to visit St Helena Hospice, which has, I know, been created through the dedication and the generosity of countless supporters. Describe the hospice to me as a centre of excellence. And I do pray that all who come to St Helena Hospice will find comfort and peace in these lovely surroundings.
On May 17th, 1985, the town celebrated a visit from Her Majesty the Queen. Her arrival at North Station was watched by hundreds of citizens and schoolchildren. Her first visit was to Wivenhoe Park to have a look round the University of Essex. Lunch was taken in the town hall, after which she made an appearance on the balcony, and later the Queen went on to the new hospital for the official opening. The last Colchester tattoo to be held in the Castle Park took place in 1982, and Colchester Cine Club were privileged to record the event with scenes of the preparation and the arena show itself. We leave this film record of events in Colchester over the past 60 years by watching an extract from Colchester Searchlight Tattoo 1982.
And here comes the Trent aircraft of 23. down this evening in the arrowhead formation from 12,000 feet. And there you see them, the central pattern of 6 and the other 2 groups of 3 tracking away with their orange smoke at the moment. They're using the stratocloud parachutes, and they'll turn from their outward positions, track down into the centre to form the rotary group, and they're then in stacked formation while operating their stratocloud parachutes at 2,500 feet. They'll do this when they see the first man deployed, and a tremendous sight. Swirling in a tremendous display, having left the Andover aircraft such a short time ago from a height of 12,000 feet. Quickly. Well, I know it's not, because here's PC Jones and Jays. He can continue the argument with them. Well, Jays won't have any quarter, straight into the attack. And a very devastating attack, too. And now switching to the attack, Police Sergeant Needham and Santa. They won't come to much because there's PC Bun with Sam.